Hello, everyone, and we are live tonight again with the BYD and XWW History. I'll be your host, the Backyard Dog. Good to see everybody tonight. Um, I don't know where we're going to end up, and I don't know how long we're going to be. I think we're going to talk about the history of me, the BYD. Let's say this much. I was born in 4 states, West Virginia. Well, actually, hang on. We're going to stop right there for a second because I got to go back and mention some stuff. I want to say congratulations to Cody, the Tornado Bully, who wore our logo at the Clarksburg Tough Man. He came in second place. And on March 3rd, he's going to wear the XWW logo to Rough and Rowdy and represent our YouTube channel very well. Or not, yeah, Rough and Rowdy. And I wish him all the best in the world. Great guy, one hell of a fighter, super tough, hitting 900 and some on a punching machine, 900 and some pound of pressure. Guy's very tough, very hard hitting. We've had a couple of backyard MMA fights back in the day. I would never want to be hit by him now. I'm way too old for that shit. But congrats, Cody, and kick ass at Rough and Rowdy. Also want to wish our boy Bad Leroy Brown, Jeff Todd, good luck in Parkersburg Tough Man this weekend. He will be wearing our logo also into the Parkersburg Tough Man. So we're going to wish Jeff Todd very good luck and praying for you, brother, to have a safe weekend because those Tough Man events are nothing to take lightly. They are very tough. You have to fight sometimes 4 times in one weekend. So it's very tough. And every fighter is different. Each fight that you fight, a Tough Man is a different fighter and a different style of fighting. One could be a brawler with no experience. One could be a street fighter with a lot of experience, or one could be, a half amateur boxer and you're fighting against him. So it's very tough, very hard hit. Back to what I was saying, we're gonna, I guess, talk about the history of me, the Backyard Dog. I said some stuff in our last stream about me, but let's just go right into it. I was born in a little town called 4 States, West Virginia. I was raised by my grandparents, Junior and Betty Jones. They did a very best they could on the limited money that they had a month to take care of me. Hey, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Um, I had a lot of health problems growing up. I couldn't eat a lot. I've been through 24 surgeries throughout my life. Um, thank you, Gary. Thank you, sir. Big shout out to Gary for being in the comment section. Appreciate you, brother. Love you, brother. Thank you for being there, getting in the group and talking. Um, where do I go from here? Uh, I've done a lot with my life for the little bit I've lived. I'm only 38 years old. I've fought in 6 Tough Man contests, each one different, none of them the same. My first one, I blinked and missed the whole thing. I stood in line for over 3 hours waiting to fight. There was 74 fights, and I was number 68. Got in the ring. I blinked, and it was over with. Things happen. It's the punch you don't see that knocks you out. I'm not ashamed to admit I lost. Hopefully, I'll have the video soon to post up here for everybody to see. Um, all my other Tough Man fights, I do believe, are up on here, and everybody can watch them in the Best of BYD section because I've been doing this so long. There's over 80 some videos or 90 some videos in my playlist, which is really cool. I started XWW in 1996 with a good friend of mine named Travis the 8 Ball Bevan. And I'm trying not to say the same things I said last week, but I kind of am kind of repeating myself, and I don't like to repeat myself. So I apologize. Um, I've held our XWW wrestling title 56 times. We don't have an in-depth roster, so I've wrestled a lot of the same guys over and over again. back in the early days of XWW. I've been 19-time tag champion in XWW Backyard Sports Wrestling. I have had over 40 wins, 10 losses, and 1 no contest in XWW BMF MMA. By the way, we are the originators of the BMF division. Don't let Rough and Rowdy or the damn UFC fool you. We originated the BMF division. Baddest motherfucker in the fights. That came from XWW, and those two companies have stolen that name from us. I'm not saying that they can't use it because fuck it, they're way more popular than we ever were. But at the same time, they got that stuff from us. They can't lie, they can't deny that the BMF division was started here in XWW in like 2008 or 2000. Well, no, BMF started in 2007 with our boxing division, and then moved on to MMA. We did BMF MMA, and we added women's weight classes and stuff like that. But it started in XWW. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. XWW was the originator of the BMF division, and that was created by me. Baddest motherfucker in the fights in BMF or boxing. It was started here. So, but anyways, I digress. I've held 5 different weight class titles in XWW and MMA, and the reason for that is because we made it possible to where guys that were in smaller weight classes could challenge upward and fight in heavier divisions. So I was our heavyweight MMA champion at one point in time, beating Taz, the Tasmaniac Stickle, and yes, his real name is Taz. I beat him with an armbar to win the vacated heavyweight title, which was vacated by Chuck the Hammer Hess at the time. I lost 2 weeks later. I lost to Lonzo the Tank Whaley and lost that heavyweight title. He took that belt from me. Very tough fighter. He beat me, and it was like almost 4 minutes of a first round. He knocked me completely out. When they woke me up, I threw up everywhere. But he also outweighed me by like 120 pounds too. So let's see. What else have I done? When XWW closed, let's go here. We'll go there. When XWW closed in 2012, late 2012, early 2013, I went and I sat in the crowd because I didn't think I was in shape enough to fight a tough man at that time. So I went and sat in the crowd and watched Lonzo the Tank Whaley pull off a 3rd place victory that year. He was our fighter. I think he was wearing our logo on his shorts. I'm not really sure, but he won 3rd place that year. He got all the way down to where he fought the guy that ended up winning the championship. He fought Gabe Lambert, and Gabe knocked him out in the 2nd round and went on to win the heavyweight championship that year. So there was Gabe, and then another guy was 2nd place, and then Lonzo the Tank Whaley had lost to Gabe. So that kind of technically makes him the 3rd place guy, even though there wasn't no money for that or anything. And then in 2013, March 23rd, 2013, I went to Shinston's Fox's Pizza Den, School Square, and signed up to pay $25 down to try to get into professional wrestling, which was always my dream. I was always told I was too small, I had too many health problems, I'd never make it. Did backyard wrestling and stuff for years, so I was like, screw it, $25. What's it going to hurt me? I'm going to go try it. I got in there. We trained for about an hour before the show began. And my dumb ass goes to the promoter and says, hey, I'm not going to mention the guy's name because I don't want to get threatened with a lawsuit or anything because I don't, anyways. So I went in there and I said, hey, man, if there's anything I can do to help out the show tonight, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help with anything you need for the show. He said, give me a minute. I'll be right back, Jeremy. I said, okay. Runs to the back, comes back. He says, you got 10 minutes and you're on. I said, what do you mean I'm on? He said, you're wrestling tonight in the opening match. Go meet with Mustafa. I go to the back and I meet with Mustafa and we work out the match because just so everybody knows, pro wrestling is predetermined. What happens inside that ring and what happens inside those ropes, that hurts. You can't fake that. You cannot fake that. The yells and screams, the pain on your face when people see you get body slammed, that's all legit shit. I'm here to tell you. And this ring wasn't in great shape. So, but at the same time, when you got flipped up and threw up in the air and you landed in the ring, if you weren't 250, you weren't moving it. It didn't have any give. So at a $150, getting thrown in the air and slammed down on that mat, I didn't move the ring. I didn't. And it hurt. It was real. It was legit. It was painful. And I don't regret it. I had a lot of fun. And Mustafa was a total pro. Thank you again, Mustafa. Don't kill me if you ever see this video. Uh, our video, that video of me and Mustafa is actually on YouTube. It's on the best of BYD videos. So be sure to check that out. But he was a great guy to me. They gave us like 2 to 3 minute match. Told us to go home after so long. I screwed up in the beginning. I screwed up a spot in the beginning, and we saved it, and we had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, Mustafa was a total pro to me. He was so nice. He didn't try to kill me or hurt me because I was a backyarder. They all knew I was a backyarder coming in. Funny thing, though, because back then we had a different YouTube channel, and it wasn't like this. It wasn't set up like this. It was totally different. I go to walk in the locker room. Let's get to this story. Before I met Mustafa, I walk in the locker room and I swear on this. I'll put my right hand to God and swear on this. There was former ECW, right hand to God, former ECW world champion Shane Douglas, the franchise. And as soon as I walked in the locker room, he said, BYD, what are you doing in my locker room? I said, I'm wrestling on the card tonight. And he shook my hand. But I'll never forget that he knew my name before I walked in. Like, as soon as I walked in the door, he knew how to greet me. He knew that I was the backyard dog. And that's always stuck with me over the years, that he had watched my videos and knew who I was, which, no bullshit. That's swear. I just shared a picture earlier on the community page of me and Shane Douglas, and that was right before my match. Shane was very nice, took a picture with me before I was even in the ring. They come to me in the locker room, and they were like, the announcer did, and he's like, hey man, what's your name? What is your wrestling name? I didn't have a name. He's, what's your gimmick? What do you go by when you wrestle? And I was like, I go by the backyard dog, BYD. I even wore an XWW shirt to a professional wrestling show, a backyard wrestling shirt to a professional wrestling show. So I knew I was in for a night of trouble because those guys frown upon yard turds. And that's what they considered me. And I'll never, I'll never shy from that. I'll always be a yard turd. It's where I started out. Most pro wrestlers, they don't want to admit it or not, but they all start out in the backyard. I don't care what they say. Most of them start out in the backyard. So anyways, so I just told the announcer, I said, just call me BYD. He said, well, where are you from? I said, 4 states, West Virginia. Even though I was living in Wyatt at the time, West Virginia at the time. I told him to announce me as 4 states, West Virginia, because that was the home of XWW. That's where we originated. So they announced my name from 4 states, West Virginia, BYD. They didn't announce me Backyard Dog, just BYD, which was fine with me. And I got a little pop for that, and you can hear it in the video. I got a little pop for that. So I'll always remember that little time I spent in the ring. And Mustafa didn't hurt me or anything, didn't try to purposely hurt me, although I had his handprints on my back for about a week. Thank you again, Mustafa, for being very kind, very patient with me, and letting me learn a little bit from you that night, because I actually learned a lot from you that night. I appreciate your time. Let's move on. I went on to if you watch Peacock, you can look it up. Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. I'm in the first 5 minutes of that. I was working a security guard at a wrestling show, walking around the ring, and they just happened to catch me in the music video that they use in the movie Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies. So I was in that, and I'm very proud of that, because I'll live forever through that movie. As long as it's still on Peacock or any other streaming service, people could see me. Not a pretty face, but at least I was in a movie. And for being a small town, 4 states, West Virginia, backwoods, country hick, backyarder, going into professional wrestling and getting to meet the likes of the Barbarian and all them, great stuff. Great stuff. I cannot thank you guys enough. The guys that actually took the time and talked to me and was very respectful. Everybody I met in the wrestling business was so kind to me. I cannot say enough about how those guys are total pros, very nice gentlemen, and I had the time of my life. Could I do it again? Yes. Do I plan on doing it again? Possibly. I'm possibly going to get back in there and do professional wrestling again someday. No, I'm not too old. You're never too old to do anything. DDP got into professional wrestling at the age of 35 when he first took his first bump, and he went on to be world champion at 40. I'm 38. I've already been in pro wrestling for a little bit. 2013 when I started. I stepped away for a little bit, came back 2000, I do believe 2016, 17, stayed until 2018, and I really think I'm going to go back someday. I've refereed for a few wrestling companies here in West Virginia. I've done a little bit of everything. When I was working for the first company, they wanted me to wear a mask. I wore a mask. I went out and wrestled as El Demonio S. Phillips. Don't ask me the name because that was the promoter's gimmick he gave me. I wore a mask, blue mask. I still have the mask. Hangs up in my living room with some other stuff that I've done. I've met a lot, like I said, I've met a lot of great guys, a lot of great names. If you go to the community tabs, you can actually look and see everybody I've met. And you guys will all know that I'm not bullshitting in my stories. Like, I don't bullshit anybody. I'm honest. I'm open. Hell, I'm the backyard dog. I'm supposed to be honest and open. I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay on here, guys. I love and appreciate the people that did get on and check it out. The other people that I talk to on a daily don't ever get on and check out anything. They just talk about it. They don't be about it, I guess. But I love my time in XWW. I love my time in professional wrestling. Hang on one second. And before I go any further, I want to say I forgot a name last week when I was talking and Dale and the Tank, and I named off Billy Wildcard. I named off T-Truth. I left out one important factor of XWW that helped sell out that building over there at the Summit Park Volunteer Fire Department, and that was Muscles, Jesse Richter. Muscles, I love you, brother. I'm sorry I forgot you in the last video. I'm giving you a big shout out now, Jesse. You were one of the toughest, if not the toughest fighter in XWW. I know you're definitely the hardest hitting fighter in XWW and had a hell of a mean head kick. I can't say enough of good things about you. I really wish you could get back into the fighting game and give it another tough man go, because I think you could have won that tough man with a little bit of training and a little bit of technique behind you. You could have really won tough man because you had a hell of a hit. Hell of a hit. 2018, Jesse fought in Tough Man, made it through the second night. He lost by judge decision on the second night, but the guy that beat him went on to be champion that year. So he did a good job fighting the future Tough Man champion in 2018. He didn't know he was going to be the champion, but the guy ended up winning it that night, and that's awesome that Jesse got to get in the ring with him. I've had a lot of fun, guys. Anybody wants to know anything else, feel free to ask questions. I just told everybody I was live right now, and that's in my little circle, and still nobody's getting on and talking. So, which is very, very strange, but very cool. Also, I don't care either way. Been on for 21 minutes now. If anybody got any questions, shoot them. Let's ask. I've met Ricky Morton. I've met Ricky Morton. I've met the Barbarian. I've met Kevin Sullivan. Oh yeah, let's do the Kevin Sullivan story. I left that out. I'll do the Kevin Sullivan story before I leave. I was wrestling for the same company I started with in Shinston, West Virginia. I don't want to say their names because, like I said, I don't want to get a lawsuit or anything, because I don't know where I stand with the owner or anything like that. I ain't trying to get sued. So, anyways, we'll go this way about it of not mentioning the company's name. So, anyways, I digress. I get to wrestle a guy by the name of the Neon Ninja Facade. He was very patient with me. Thank you, Facade. Appreciate everything you did for me that night. You made me look like $1,000,000. We go out and we do our thing, and like I said, Facade took really good care of me because I was a green bean. It was my only my second professional wrestling match. I bumped my ass off for him. I did everything he asked of me and then some. Tried to, anyways. Gave it everything I had that night. We get back to the locker room, and here's where Kevin Sullivan comes in. Before we go out, it was supposed to only be a 3-minute match. And Kevin, who was helping book at the time, Kevin Sullivan was helping book for this company. He looked at me and Facade and he said, "Fuck that. Screw that shit." And by the way, I apologize for my language, but I'm going to say it anyway. He said, "Fuck that. Screw that shit." He said, "We're going to do 5 to 8 minutes. Give the kid 5 to 8 minutes. We don't want to kill him. We don't want to squash his character. If we squash his character, nobody's going to believe it if he comes back and actually gets another shot with this thing." He said, "So why squash him? Go out there and have an actual athletic contest." So me and Prasad worked out all the details and everything. We went out and had a good match. So I come back to the locker room and Kevin's like, "You're a liar." "Sir, what did I lie to you about?" He said, "You're a liar." I said, "Okay, what did I lie to you about?" "You're a god liar." "What did I lie to you about, man?" He's like, "There's no way it was your second match. You look like you've been doing this for a while now." Well, technically I was, because here's a little story behind XWW's Backyard Wrestling. We went move for move, but we practiced bumping. We all pretty much knew how to take a bump, knew how to fall. We watched enough wrestling to figure it out. We knew how to fall. We took care of one another. XWW's Backyard Wrestling wasn't about hurting one another. It was about getting the W, and we would work on it until one guy got wore out or we hooked a submission and actually made him tap out. But nobody was ever seriously injured in XWW on purpose, and nobody was ever left out. If they wanted to wrestle, we showed them how to take the bump and everything and explained to them that we don't try to kill each other here. So we all knew it was sort of like pro wrestling, but quite not quite like pro wrestling, because there was going to be an athletic contest without it being killing one another, but it was still going to be an athletic contest. So, anyways, I digress. So I'd been doing it for a while. So when Kevin said that, he's like, "Where did you go? You know, what have you been doing? Where did you learn this stuff at?" And I said, "Hey, man, I'm been a wrestling fan forever, and I practice backyard stuff. I've done backyard stuff for years, and by that time, I was probably, I don't know, 15, 16 years in the backyard wrestling. So I had experience on bumping. When me and the 8 Ball Travis Bevan started XWW, I remember practicing bumping for hours, practicing hip tosses and practicing arm drag takedowns and Beal tosses. Before I even knew what a fucking Beal toss was, we were practicing Beal tosses because the 8 Ball didn't give very much. He didn't give very much of his body to me. So it was just me trying to figure it out pretty much. And I think I figured it out pretty well, because my first night training with this company, my very first night, they were willing to let me in the ring. So that says a lot about my bumping capability. Sorry, I got a little pop up on my screen there. But yeah, that says a lot about my bumping capabilities. If I was able to just go out and do the practice at the beginning of the show and then say, hey, to the promoter, and say, hey, man, I want to help you with the show tonight. If there's anything I can do, security, whatever. And he says, hey, man, I'm going to put you in the ring. Obviously, he knew that I was tough enough to take whatever they put in front of me. And at the end, I ain't going to lie, when Mustafa landed on me in that very first match, longest 3 seconds of my life. And then he sat there for a couple more seconds. Longest couple of seconds in my life. I'm looking up at the lights in the school square gym and thinking to myself, get off me. Because I was a $150 at the time and I had 325 pounds sitting on my chest. That didn't feel good. That didn't feel good. So if anybody thinks wrestling's fake, go look at that. Go watch that video of Mustafa versus, go in my playlist and look up BYD versus Mustafa and watch the ending of that match. Because he jumps on me and he lands on me, and there wasn't nothing or nobody that could tell me pro wrestling was fake at that moment, because there wasn't nothing fake about it. I gasped for air and laid there looking up at the lights like, when is this going to be over? Because that's a big some bitch to land on top of you. 325 pounds when you're a $150 something at the time, and you got 300 some pounds on your chest. That takes the air out of you. That'll deflate you pretty good. Don't forget, tomorrow we have the Cock Gobbler report. Johnny wants attention. Johnny gets attention. Okay? So be sure to check that out. The Cock Gobbler report, where we report all things nasty, vile, and disgusting from the Johnny Gobbler saga on his channel, the Dagburn Strike King or whatever. Although he doesn't realize that he can't copyright strike anybody when his material isn't copywritten. What a freaking moron. I tell you what, if I ever met him in person, I would personally pluck his feathers on camera for everybody to see. If I ever met that cock gobbler in person. So, Johnny, be warned. If you ever come across the BYD's path, I will pluck you, you dumb mother. I don't like you. I don't like what you stand for. You're a snitch. But anyways, I digress. The Backyard Dog is going to back on out of here for the night. I've been on for 30 minutes. You all have been beautiful. The people that did get on. Gary, I appreciate you, Gary. You're a good dude for getting on and hitting the like button and everything. I appreciate it. God bless you all. The real people that go out and work 9 to 5s and everything like that. And if my eye, just so we all know, if my eye ever looks strange, which it does right now, I just had surgery December 8th. My eye's still messed up from it. I've had 4 eye surgeries. And if my ears ever look weird to you people, it's because I got one ear out and I got one ear in. And the reason why that is because I've had that ear operated on quite a bit. That ear's been cut open behind it 4 different times. So that ear doesn't set right. You got this all popped out and nice and pretty, and then this one's all scrunched in. I look weird on camera. So I wear my hat to help pop out my ear or hide my ear a little bit. And I want to promote my logo. And by the way, anybody that likes the logo stuff, feel free. Like I said, I got the number 22 because my favorite football player was Emmitt Smith from the Dallas Cowboys, and green and black is the XWW logo characters. And one more thing I forgot to mention. If you're wondering why I like green and black so much, is that's my old gimmick character for the backyard. Before I became the backyard dog, I was the venomous viper. I was the snake, the venomous viper. And I was the venomous viper originally before Randy Orton was the venomous viper. Don't know how they came up with that name in WWE, but when they used it and licensed it, I decided I was going to change my name, and I just went with the backyard dog, which that suited me better anyways, and that's been with me longer than the venomous viper stuff. I'm content with being the backyard dog, and Randy Orton, whatever. I like him as a wrestler. I like him as he's a great talent. But anyways, I digress. I was the original venomous viper before Randy Orton was. Just saying that, and I got proof. I can prove that. If it would ever come to push, come to shove, I can prove that. But anyways, I'm the backyard dog now. I'm happy to be the backyard dog. Ain't worried about the old name or anything like that. We created BMF before the UFC and Rough and Rowdy or anybody else used the BMF name. We created that. They may have belts that say it now, but we had belts that said it a lot sooner than they did. Anyways, y'all have a great night. God bless. I love everybody. Y'all be good. Be safe. Stay safe. I know my language isn't always the best, but I ask God to forgive me every night with God, I'm a sinner. Please forgive me for my past, present, and my future, because I know I'm going to sin again. And every Sunday I sit front row center in my church because I am a sinner. So I need to be front row center. Plus, I got a hearing problem. I can't hear all the way back. So anyways, if you guys haven't, please ask your Lord and Savior, ask Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior, and get right with God. The end of the world's coming with all these with all this corruption and crime out there in the world. You need to be forgiven and find your way back to God. I love you all. Like I said, I love you all. Be safe. God bless. BYD is always out.